Okay, this is Joe Hage. I am the leader of the Medical Devices Group on LinkedIn. Thank you very much for joining me today. And before I inherited this great big group that I truly have the privilege of leading, I, pardon me, I specialized in marketing communication and strategy, lead generation, and website development for medical device and related companies. So I'm pleased to be able to give you a little extra value today and share a thing or two about what I know. So I hope you think it is helpful, and I will take questions after the presentation. So there will be ice cream for everybody. No, there will be plenty of opportunities for you to ask me a question either here or later on. My objective is to give you as much information as I can in the next hour. And at the end of it, I have a link for you that has a 25-page PDF of things that were just too much for me to cover in this hour. So I hope you can stick around and you can download that PDF for free. And if at the end of the presentation and you read the book, you want to spend more time with me and invest in your business with me, I will give you a link where you can take advantage of a special offer today. So if that sounds fair, we will get started. I wonder how many of you had the chance to watch the video that I sent you in the reminder. And I did so to save us just a little bit of time, that the three most important things in digital marketing come down to getting found, being engaging, and collecting info. And I'll touch upon it briefly. I have a red asterisk next to get found because not everybody is ready to do that, and I'll explain why. When your customer comes to Google, if they don't know your link or know precisely how to find you and may not even know about you, what are they going to type? Now, for a company called BioLife Solutions, a former client of mine, the terms on the left are the ones that he felt best represented the reasons why someone would want to visit his site. And so before we got started, that's the previous column, that is the ranking he had on Google. So 47, for example, would be on the 5th page, which no one would visit. But we redesigned his site and we worked on earning him the top rank for extended cell stability. Very important for his business. He invested in that with a lot of content and a lot of work on our part. So he thought that this was a worthwhile endeavor for him. Now, there are some clients that I actively tell to blow off SEO. And the reason for that is, unless you can get on page 1, it's really not worth it. And getting on page 1 is a lot of work. If anybody comes to you and promises you, I can get you on page 1, they're lying. Look elsewhere. I cannot guarantee you getting on page 1. No one I know can guarantee it. It takes a lot of work because Google makes its living serving the most relevant answer for any query. And if it were just able to be gamed, where I know a better trick than someone else knows, then Google's not going to be in business for very long. If you don't have the bandwidth or the resources to compete for SEO, because you don't have enough content, you won't be refreshing it often enough, you don't have the staff for it, you don't have the budget for it, there are still a few things that you might consider optimizing your site for. First, if you're not showing up when I Google your company name, that's bad. There are some companies that have no sites at all, which is bad. And there are some that have them, but they are lower on the page than Hoover's and Amazon and other things, and we can't even find what they're looking for. Your product names. So if you have 3 divisions in your company and people tend to know you for your vital signs monitor, but they don't know the name of your company, do what you can to get your product name high on page 1 in the rankings. And then a longer tailed search you can win. That means, a really long expression. I picked this up from my website. I had a healthcare sales consultant who I told would never win. It was just too competitive. But if he tried healthcare sales consultant Chattanooga or Tennessee, that is a term he might be able to win. So some of those can bring in good traffic for you and are worthwhile competing for. So I'm going to try my luck with this poll feature again, and I am going to ask you, should your company bother with SEO? Given that if you're not on page 1, it's probably not worth it except for winning your name of your company, your products, or long-tailed searches. Interesting. Oh, interesting. I'll give this another moment. Very interesting. Okay, I'll close the poll here. So last seconds, take a vote. Great. Here's your answer. Let's see if this comes up. I'm looking for the answer. Okay. 40% of you said we already do. 19% said we don't, but we should. 17% said we don't, we probably shouldn't. 21% don't know. 2%, God bless you, not my department, don't care. Interesting. Good to know where the group stands. So I'll hide that, and we will move on. I'll talk briefly about BioLife Solutions real quick. The company wanted to win the term biopreservation media. Here's its homepage, and here is their title tag right up here on top. This is the title of this page, biopreservation media. The terms to the leftmost part are most important, so notice that he didn't say BioLife Solutions and then something. He's already winning for his company name. So this was where he wanted to use his asset. So before I leave Getting Found, SEO is hard. It is repetitive. I'm not an expert in it. I have members of my team that live and breathe this stuff. It's hard, but I think it's worth it. Okay, so get found, be engaging. What is engaging? Well, this little girl is engaging. You know engaging when you see it. I am going to show you some examples here. That is no science, just my intuition. I think you will agree this is not engaging, and it is live on the web right now. And this is not engaging. And we could debate it, but I think this is. And I think this is. And what makes engaging is something that I can relate to. I know where to look. It is broken out into logical things that I might look for. You know it when you see it. Now I'm going to try my hand at another poll. I talk a lot about having a voice on your site. So I'm going to ask you to look at these 4 individuals, and which of them do you think would be the best author for your website? Okay, so we'll try that poll. So number 1 was the Indian man. The second was the woman. Third was the doctor. The fourth was arguably a patient. Interesting. Oh, I do enjoy this poll feature. Okay, I'm going to cut it off and go ahead and vote if you haven't yet. Okay. The majority of you chose the woman. Second is the doctor. Third was the patient. Number one didn't get many votes, and a number of you said, nobody on this page looks like my author. The point of my having asked this exercise is whether or not your person is represented here. Have a person in mind, whether that's your customer or your management or someone that represents your culture, but have a voice. When you're online, I say, don't just sound like a person, be a person. I know that we're doing serious, life-saving stuff. That's great. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't speak colloquially as I'm speaking with you now. Just talk. People want to interact with humans, not robots, not automatons, not people who just need to sell their stuff and that's all they do. When you do share information online, this is a recent poll that was taken by HealthLink Dimensions, and this is how 124 physicians answered the question, what kinds of information would you find to be valuable? So you can take a look at that, and on the replay you can freeze this frame and look at the percentages. But you can see that accredited CMEs, disease state information, events and webcasts, this stuff is interesting for them. They said that they most preferred email and they did not prefer phone calls and in-person visits. Okay, this is talking about collecting info. I think this is critically important for you. We talked about getting found, whether or not you choose to, that's up to you. Being engaging so that they have a reason to care. So when they care, do you give them a way to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested? BioLife once more. Here's a way that they engaged their prospects. Would you like a free sample of this product? Now, someone searching for biopreservation media probably needs biopreservation media, and the alternative to buying this product is making your own. So BioLife wanted to show that ours works better, go see for yourself, and for the price of a vial, this has been a very successful program. I have on my Medical Marcom website a video. It's 12 minutes long. It's free. I don't have it behind any kind of, I won't let you see the video until you give me your information. But there on the bottom, after you've watched the video, if you want the PDF that accompanies it, you can download it there. And I know my friend Craig is on this call. Hello, Craig. And Craig, playfully now, fell into my little trap. And he downloaded the PDF, and he was intrigued. I saw him in my lead pipeline. We were able to get in touch, and I will be on a call with him later today to do some work. Snap Engage. This is a live chat feature. I talk about it in the download that will be available for you after the webinar. And I can't emphasize enough how important live chat has been for my business and how much I think it can be for yours. When people come to my site and that pops open and they start interacting with me, it's just a delightful, unexpected experience. And if I'm in the business of attracting clients, as you are, then when somebody's on your site and they want to interact with someone, what could possibly be more empowering than, wow, there was someone right there to talk with me. So I have a link for you there, medgroup.biz/snapengage. I highly recommend that you give that a try. On the bottom of every page on my website is this footer. And on the left there, I have given you permission to believe that I might actually know what I'm talking about because my old boss thought so. So right at the point of purchase, if you will, or conversion in this case, I'm letting you know it's okay to give me your email address to join us. You can always unsubscribe, and that's kind of intuitive. This tactic has raised my conversion rate on site by 20%. Here's an example from my old employer, Cardiac Science. Here again, we gave a video that you could watch. This was a promotional outreach. And when we drove people to the site, we introduced this new product. We gave you a little bit of information, which regrettably isn't too small a type, I think. You should be at 14 point at least, I recommend. And then, for a limited time, you could get an applicator and 2 cases of electrodes if you make a purchase before this date. So it's cut off here. I wanted to fit it all on the screen. This is where people gave their information to redeem that offer. Also, Cardiac Science here on every product page, and indeed I think on most pages, on the right-hand side here is an open-ended form. It is your name, your email, phone, and zip code. What are you looking for? And an option to opt in for promotions. This was a very successful program for us. It increased visit to talking with us. That was not my best sentence, but you get the idea, by 40%. And what I liked about it was what I'm looking for is open-ended. You could say, my thing doesn't work, or I need a box of electrodes, or can you show me what the best equipment is? Whatever was on the customer's mind, that's what we were there for. This is not just a medical device thing, of course. Here is the Motley Fool, and right there on the bottom of this article, 2 big dividends to drive your retirement portfolio. You can get the intriguing story of the Steve Jobs betrayal for your email address. And guess what? Once you do that, you are in their database. You can see here on the right that they use Facebook. They have 40,000 fans as of the screenshot, which is a year old. Other ways to engage folks. Here's another. Grab our free online marketing course, letting you know that 75,000 people have already done it. Just enter your email address. It's free. Here's an example of a form that you would find on a Contact Us page. And Contact Us pages are important. People look for them. That's great. But do you really need to know what my city, state, country, and zip code is before I find out any information about your product? Every additional field, and especially ones here with the red asterisk that you require, lowers the chance that someone's going to fill in the form. And if they leave without filling in the form or converting in some way on your site, then you've missed an opportunity. And here's one for Edwards Life Science. They want even more information. They want to know, am I a hospital or a clinic? Am I a doctor? What product category? What product name? This is exhausting. And what it tells me is I'll give you some stuff once I'm sure that you're worth it, and or when you give me your phone number, just be ready because I'm going to have my sales guy call you. And I don't want your sales guy to call me. I just want more information about your product at this point. It's way too early in my decision process. I'm doing my research. So make it as easy as you can, fewest barriers possible to get people to share their information with you so you can begin a dialogue. And that is the top line of what I wanted to cover. Get bound, be engaging, collect info. Hooray, candy for everybody. That was the first main topic I wanted to cover. I have 2 more we'll have time for, and then we will have questions. I promised that we would talk about a promotion that moved $150,000 in incremental sales through distribution. I know distribution is a big issue for members of the group, and when you do get distribution, when you're not dealing with a dedicated sales force, how do you get them to pay attention to you versus the other 1,000 items in the bag? So this is an example. I've kind of doctored it up to be fictitious, but it is born in a real example that I did in a prior life. So sales asked for Q2 support, and traditionally they would say, hey, marketing, would you make us a PDF or brochure or some email to send to distributors? So we tried something new. We created a short email with one link, and that link had it took you to promotion details and immediate steps of how to participate. Every lead that was generated was rewarded. So just filling in a lead, if it was qualified, you would get a reward. Every sale you made, you would get a bigger reward. The result is we sold $150,000 in incremental business. So step by step, the email doesn't have to be anything fancy. In fact, plain text may work better than graphics. Make sure you give new information. Here's an email. Subject, guaranteed spiff money. If you don't know what spiff means, I just picked it up along the way, and it just means an extra bonus for you. So, hey, salesperson, do you want extra money? Sure you do. Medco is running a compelling spiff program. They're practically giving away money. Here's the link. Good selling, your boss. So if you can get the boss to send it on your behalf, all the better. And which of your salespeople aren't going to click on that link? The entire point of the email is to get people to click on the link. Look, I forgot I was going to say that. That's what I was going to say. It's that important. The landing page doesn't have to be anything fancy, but it must be dedicated, and it must be linear. If you do this, you will get that. Don't show them lots and lots of things. Just have them do the thing that the promotion is about. So this is an example of a landing page. There's one thing to do here. Click here to enter a lead, or click here to enter the lead. These both work. You're going to get, pardon me, a $25 Amex card for each qualified lead. And if you want, here is some information that you can download as well. We're here to help put money in your pockets. Call us. Let's win the Triple Crown together. So some theme, and this is the way to enter a lead. And you could print this out if you need to. Here's the form. Now, this is different than the conversion forms that we talked about earlier. These are not prospects. These are not your customers necessarily. These are people who need to provide a degree of information that justifies being paid $25. So we need to know their name and email address. Are they with Shine? Are they with BSS? Who are they with? What's your contact name and phone so I can reward you? What's your zip code so that I can route this to my sales rep on my team to work with you? How hot is this lead? Click all that apply. Call me to discuss. Customer agreed to a demo. Let's talk about it. Is the prospect, does the prospect have a budget for the item? When might the prospect purchase? Is there anything else that we should know when we call you? Enter the lead. Click here when you're done, or enter a second one. And we talked about this. Your rep qualifies a lead, and we reward you and your leaders. The big sales award could be a big prize. It could be hundreds of dollars per sale, however you'd like to set it up. But when you work with your distributor and you get the boss involved and the boss's boss involved and you get the entire organization rooting for you, maybe have East versus Central versus West versus South, whomever among those districts win the most sales, they all get something. This is what contributed to our success. And it works. So Eddie sent me an email. I thought you'd appreciate how many responses we're getting. We nearly quadrupled our business over the prior year. It's an exciting thing. So when you're in marketing and you get one of these, it feels pretty good. So here is your checklist. You'll want to get your distributor to endorse the promotion. You'll need an email, some content. Hopefully the distributor will send it out under his or her name instead of yours. Have an area on your website that is strictly for promotions of this kind. Dedicated landing page. A back-end database so that when all the information comes in, it can be sorted to your rep. As I said, reports, rewards, and publicity. So we would say, this week, so-and-so from such a company won the $100. What are you, how's it going? How can we help? That type of thing. Follow up. Hooray, strawberries for everybody. We've covered getting found, being engaged, collecting info, and the promotion. If I went too fast, it'll all be available in transcript form as well on the replay. Okay, social media. Ask your doctor if social media is right for you. Candidly, social media is a term that I hate, but it is an accepted term, so I use it. People kind of know what you're talking about, and well, I'll talk about that in a moment. The first thing that I hear from clients is, I'm not sure about social media. What about the FDA? It would have to go through legal and regulatory. We're not set up for that. The guidelines haven't come out. My advice to you is use that fear to your advantage. Use that fear to your advantage. And what I mean by that is if your competitors are afraid to do it, but you step forward and you do it, you have a competitive advantage over them. Because if you think about it, for whatever state we're in today, in 2013, 50 years from now, can you imagine how fluid communications will be? Everyone will be able to get in touch with you whenever they want to. So social media is a way to share your content and to be available and to be present and top of mind. Moz is a company that specializes exclusively in SEO, and it's Kindred, and its CEO said something I think is very, very wise. If you don't have great content, social can't help you. If you do, social rewards it. So if you say, oh, I want to get into social media, let's get on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and you name it. You need something to say. You need to say it and hopefully have people click. Just as I said earlier, the whole point of the email is to get the click. The whole point of social is to get the click. To click through, hopefully, to your website where they can not only be rewarded by reading what you put out there that piqued their interest, but also maybe look around the site. And maybe one of our little traps, Snap Engage or a conversion tool will be there where you can interact with them there. But you're going to need something smart to say first. And I have a client or two on the phone right now who knows what I'm talking about, because as much as we would like to create content and put together a blog, the fact is that that just ain't going to happen. We are not aligned that way, and these guys will never buy off on it, and so I say, well, then there's no point in trying to set up social media either because you have nothing to share. There is a workaround. It is tough. It is resource intensive. You can outsource this stuff. I'm working on a program now. You can email me about it where I can potentially set you up with people who could create content for you. But ultimately, there's someone on your team who's the subject matter expert. And ultimately, whomever I get to outsource for you, for you to help you, is going to need to talk with that person because we'll never be as smart. I mean, that's why you're in business. You're really good at that. So we'll need to figure out a way to tease that out and share it with folks. I'm going to share 5 wins that we had at Cardiac Science. First is when we had a recall back in 2009. That was bad news, all right. But we had a blog, and in addition to putting out the formal press release, we had our CEO write a more casual more colloquial explanation of what happened. And in it, here, it's very good news for the company. Well, come on, you and I both know. That's a recall. That's not very good news for the company. But, he said the effort is receiving our full attention. We've already resolved most of the issues. The point of this is, and the big payoff for this was, when newspapers came calling right after that press release, our investor relations company and our PR agency directed people to this blog post, and the Seattle Times picked up a quote from this blog post verbatim without ever having spoken to our CEO. We couldn't have asked for a better outcome. So because we were ready and nimble and had a place to put content like that, we were able to direct people in a time of crisis. So in times of trouble, social can help restore your reputation. Content is important. I'll say it over and over again. Here's another. Cardiac Science has its own YouTube channel with more than 200,000 views from whenever I took the screenshot a year ago. And here is 12,000 views of a cardiac stress test equipment video. And I think I have it here. Yes, if a cardiac stress equipment video is watched 11,000 times, imagine what your video can do. Video is very important these days. They don't all have to be polished. They don't all need to be professional. You can even do some with a handheld phone and take that content and put it up in your blog, or anything is better than, well, I won't say that. Not anything is better than nothing, but you'll know when you see it. It doesn't have to have a professional cinematographer and editing and all of that in order to make your website. If you have the budget, great. Go ahead and do it. I know some great people to put you in touch with. But don't let that hold you back. Billy Mays died of cardiac arrest back in 2009, and because we had a blog, we were opportunistic. And we wrote this piece called Billy Mays, cardiac arrest, ? Google doesn't recognize marks of punctuation. And my boss said, you can't write that Billy Mays died of cardiac arrest. You don't know that yet. Well, I'm not saying that he died of cardiac arrest. It's not yet been determined, but it sounds like it could have been cardiac arrest. And sure enough, the next day, when it was announced that Billy Mays died of cardiac arrest, here we are. Ranks 2 and 3 for the term Billy Mays cardiac arrest. Opportunistic use of social media and content and sharing. That was it was an unfortunate situation. I fully acknowledge that that was opportunistic, but you want traffic to your site, and the headline and what people are searching is one way to do it. When I talked earlier about a long-tail search, we recognize that this question of what is cardiac arrest and how does it differ from a heart attack was a commonly searched thing. So we wrote a post. We really invested in it. We spent a lot of time on and made sure we were careful with the subject line, heart attack versus cardiac arrest. So that when people type in cardiac arrest versus heart attack or its equivalent, we would be there. They come to the page, and we have all the ways to potentially engage them. Hungarian striker Miklos Ferrer died of cardiac arrest. And to this day, our post about that is a main source of volume for the company. Well, a main source, but it still gets hundreds of visits a month, and that's all incremental. That is a long-tail search, and having a chance to have people visit your site for something other than typing in your name. And Facebook. Honestly, I don't recommend Facebook for most medical device companies, except when they have a customer-facing product. So, for example, if you sell a durable piece of medical equipment, something that can be bought at a major store, a Walmart, a Costco, in our case here, an AED, which should be in every school, in every company, in your trunk. We gave advocates like Corinne, you see here, she lost her 14-year-old daughter to cardiac arrest. She was too happy to help spread the word on our page, sharing images and her story and involving the community. It's another way to get people involved talking about your story. So look to social for media pickup, like the Seattle Times example, video impressions, opportunistic page one positions, long tail searches, easy sharing, and customer recognition. And I'll add this because you're my medical devices group LinkedIn friends. My friend Gunter wrote this poll a year ago, and it says, which of the 5 following strategies is going to be least effective in 2012? And he got 166 votes. He had more than 100 comments, so he got known a little bit there. And then he followed up with a comment, and he said, Howard makes a series of brilliant points. We're going to do a webinar on this topic if anyone is interested. Are you interested? I'm in. Count me in. Sounds like a winner. So he used social media. LinkedIn is a form of it, where he engaged the crowd and then shared his expertise. You saw it over and over again in the comments. And then when he said, does anyone want to talk further about this? He ended up with, and after I promoted it for him, 700 people signed up for his webinar, which was a fire hose of leads for him that, frankly, he wasn't set up to handle. So if you do contact me and you want to do a webinar like the one I'm doing now, we can talk about that. Make sure you're ready for what happens next, which is lots and lots of people signing up for it and being ready with a mechanism to handle all of that potential business. So we're done. I promised you next I would give you a link for 10 additional concepts that you can use. It's 25 pages long, and it was just far more stuff that I could possibly hope to cover in our hour. You can go to http://medicalmarcom.com/workshop offer. And I'm going to click on this now to make sure it's working. Let me get out of this. And I'm going to copy this. Oops. And I'm going to copy it here in your chat box there on the side, and click on it to make sure it works. Come on. Yes, it worked. It worked on my second screen over here. See? It worked. So you can download this book, and if you like what you heard today and you'd like to invest some time with me, I'm running a special 50% discount to have a one-on-one consultation with me, which I will record and transcribe, lead generation assessment, and then we can get back on the phone and talk about a discussion, a follow-up plan for you that makes sense. I am only extending the 50% discount to the first 5 of you because there's a lot of people on this call, and in fairness to the customers that I already have, I just need to protect how much time I make available for this. So if you're not one of the first 5, you can email me, and when time allows, maybe we can work together on one of those. So in any case, go to that link to download the white paper. It's free whether you choose to work further with me or not. I'd like to quickly invite you to the next 10X conference on May 13th and 14th. It's way in the future. You haven't set your 2014 budget yet, so maybe you can plan to set aside some time with us in Minneapolis. This is our once annual chance for the medical devices group to come offline and get together in person. It is as casual as the conversation we're having now. This is not a chance for me to get people to come and sell you stuff. It is a chance for you to come and connect with like-minded people, medical device professionals of all kinds, to make some real connections. Soon I'll update the site, medicaldeviceevents.com, with information about next year, and you'll see that it was a big hit. So I'm excited about that, and I warmly invite you. I hope you can join us May 13th and 14th in Minneapolis. Oh, 2013, look what I did. That's 2014, everybody, next year. Okay, and that's a handsome picture of me. What do you think? That concludes what I have planned, and now you are going to have the chance to type a question in for me, and I will address as many of them as I can. So let's see. How can you determine, David asks, how can you determine qualified leads if you're only collecting the name and the email? Oh, that's a great question, David. Thank you. Well, two things. One is sometimes you can't, but sometimes you can, because oftentimes people want information that relates to their work at work. So let's say you work for Stryker. You might be David L. at Stryker.com, and Stryker would be a great customer for me. If your email address actually is your whole last name, then I could do a search for your name and your company, and you might show up on LinkedIn. And I can see your picture, and I can see your background, and I can get a sense of whether or not you are a good prospect for me. This is, actually, I'm really glad you asked that question, because your sales team, and maybe your CEO, will give you some pushback and say, what am I going to do with an email address? You know, at least get the name, at least get their title, their company. How do I, you know, I can't give that to a salesperson. And my answer is, you're right. But I'm going to get a lot more leads than you are, because I'm asking for less. And I'm seeing it over and over and over again. I've given you a dozen examples. There are hundreds more. I'm seeing in other industries as well, people moving toward just an email address, and then it's up to you to nurture that lead by having something relevant to say as a follow-up. In fact, what I forgot to mention and forgot to put in the PDF that you can download, I may update it later, is you can have an email marketing software. I use Aweber. Have an autoresponder where as soon as you are in the funnel, you get an email that says, thanks for being in the funnel. You write your own copy. And then you can set it 14 days later and say, or however many days later, and say, are you finding everything okay, or how else can I help you, or better copy than I'm making up here. That has also been a great way for me to convert prospects into customers. They appreciate that I follow up with them, and then they offer more information about how I might be able to help them. So David, thank you very much. That was a great question. Alex asks, what about the link between Twitter and Facebook? Do you recommend double posting? Alex, thank you for that question. I would say a qualified yes, and it's really a function of where your target is. So I don't know what business you're in, but chances are if you're selling, oh, I don't know, a vital sign monitor, people on Facebook, you know, checking out pictures of their grandkids probably don't want to go to your page. So it's kind of pointless. And, you know, I would actually, let me back up. I would say you should go ahead and have a page. That's fine. But make no bones about the fact that it's really not actively managed. The reason I say go ahead and put something up maybe is when people fill in their personal profiles and they say, you know, Joe works at Medical Devices Group, for example. That is a clickable field on Facebook, and it typically will look for a page on Facebook that relates to that, so that you don't get the briefcase that says, you know, company claim this site or something silly like that. At least I can take you to some kind of page that says about and where the website is and find out more about us. So same thing with Twitter. It's kind of you're in or you're not in, because taking someone to a page that shows that you have 13 followers and you've made 3 tweets is just plain lame. And it's more discrediting for you than anything. Okay. Luke asks, if content is relevant and a social media strategy is executed effectively, do you see this offsetting or replacing in any way the need for an active sales force? No, I do not. Not at all. This is the love relationship between sales and marketing. You know, it's every once in a while I'll get the question, you know, what's the difference between sales and marketing? You guys who have feet on the street know exactly what the difference is. There's absolutely no replacement for a face-to-face meeting, connecting over a meal, getting to know one another, following up in person. Marketing is a way that you can do it virtually. You know, at any given time, we have guests on this call from Africa. As much as I'd like to meet them in person, my budget precludes me from doing that. So, you know, here's a marketing tactic. I'm talking with you online, I'm sharing information, and you guys, you know, to show, you know, the dark underbelly of what I've done here, you're all in my funnel. I know that's off-putting, but I'm telling that to you that way because that's exactly what you want to do for your prospects. Once they sign up for something, you know who they are. And I can reach out to you, and I can, very funny, Craig. Craig just wrote, can you get your current clients 50% off? No. Anyhow, sorry, where was I? Well, anyhow, I've droned on long enough about that. So thank you, Luke, and you can email me if you, sorry, you're forgiven, Craig, if you want to talk more about that. Okay, let me look. Okay. Lisa asks, can you tell me more about an autoresponder? What does that mean? Okay, so when you set up your email marketing software, and if you don't have one, I recommend that you get one. Now, if you have a CRM system, if you're on Salesforce, if you're using Infusionsoft, Gold, Act, any number of them, there is probably a tool that you can use that's either embedded or you can integrate for email marketing. And that is the best way to keep in touch with the people who've contacted you. As I showed in an earlier slide, doctors want content about disease states or about CME credits or about an event or a webinar, and the best way to reach out to them to let them know about it, and they ask for it this way, is email. So when you collect their email address, put it in a database that you can easily send an email out to all of them. And an autoresponder is a functionality where you can set it up that regardless of where someone might be in your cycle, in the sales cycle, they can get a timed message. So for example, if somebody joins my funnel today, 14 days from now, they're going to get an email from me. and it says, I'll tell you what mine says. Mine says, oh, I should have mentioned, ... And it says, it's probably obvious from the content on my site, but I specialize in marketing, communication, and strategy, lead generation, and website development. If there's anything I can do to help you with any of those, let me know, etc., etc. And that happens 14 days after you sign up, no matter what. So if you signed up today, look for it in 2 weeks. Every once in a while, someone writes back and says, actually, Joe, this couldn't have come at a better time. We're thinking of this and that. And it starts a conversation. So autoresponders can be really helpful for you. Okay. Let's see. What else? Can you talk to us more about engagement? How do you know if something is engaged beyond just looking at it? Okay. Tim, thank you. That's a good question. There are ways that you can do some testing on the site. In fact, it's one of the topics I cover in the PDF, so I encourage you to go and get that. And I'll go back to that page again so you can see that URL. Actually, I'm going to go in here right now, and I'm going to make this a 14. Silly me. There. To get the PDF, there are inexpensive ways to test your site design, and you can see where people are clicking, and you can, with Google Analytics, something else I didn't talk about today, but is in the PDF, you can see how long people are staying on your site and where they're clicking and whether you're converting. But you can use a design testing software. I give an example in the white paper of how for the 10X conference, when I was designing the site for that conference, I wasn't sure what to call it. I wasn't sure what colors I should use. I wasn't sure where people would first click. And using this simple test, I got some great insights, including something that I wouldn't have thought of on my own. So one way is to use something like that, and if you need help with that, you can let me know. Another is good old-fashioned marketing research, and I have a good friend in the group that I can refer you to where you can do far more extensive user interface design testing. So if that's of interest to any of you, let me know. Does that answer your question? Great. And we have another 5 minutes. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in now. There's my friend Craig. A survey of job functions and titles would be interesting. Interesting. Okay. I'm going to hold off on that one, Craig, but thank you for that idea. Okay. Nick asks, what do I think about sending client surveys? I think that they're great. It's a great way to get feedback. If one of your concerns is, well, how do you get people to actually take them? Well, that is part of the building the relationship aspect of your job, which is, these days when I'll give you an example we can relate to. On the medical devices group, I've been managing the group for 18 months, and I've steadily seen over time that when I write a story about something and I recommend a link for you to check out, I'm steadily seeing more and more people click on the link. And I'd like to think it's because I've given group members value over the last couple of weeks or months, and they have come to trust me as someone who's not going to sell out or give them spam or direct them in some self-serving way that doesn't help them at all. So the more you have a relationship with your customers, the more willing they are to reciprocate and give back and give you some feedback, especially in devices where, you know, we are thinking about the next generation of, you name it, syringes. Which of these 5 things would be most valuable? You know, closed and open-ended questions. They could help your design engineers, your product developers with the next big idea. You may have heard of the term crowdsourcing. In effect, that's what the medical devices group does. I don't really write that much content. The group does, because I'm not the guy who knows how to do an FDA audit. That's Rob Packard. If somebody asks a question about it, I'll ask on your behalf, and then Rob will probably show up and answer the question. And you know, that's kind of what a survey is in some regard. Nick follows up with, how do you build an intelligence survey? And this will be our last question. That is probably, I guess, beyond the scope of what we can cover in the next 2 minutes. But go ahead and email me at jhage@medicaldevicesgroup.net, and I'm happy to help you with that or put you in touch with my friends in marketing research. Well, I hope that was helpful. I had fun. I hope you had fun and you picked up a thing or two. Again, I encourage you to go to medicalmarcom.com/workshop offer to download 10 marketing tactics and strategies that we couldn't cover today. I really poured myself into it, and I think that you will benefit from it. If you want to continue to invest your time with me and you want to take advantage of a discount for us to have some one-on-one time to put together a lead generation plan for you, I am happy to do that. This is Joe Hage, and it was good to talk with you today. I'll see you on the Medical Devices Group on LinkedIn. Thank you.